This did not go well for ChatGPT, and ignoring all the technical details, I just want to talk big picture about what ChatGPT still can't do. I'm a math professor, and I think one of the most important things we can do for our students is really listen to their questions, think about exactly what they're saying, and not just spit back like the standard way of doing things. I think you've all probably had that experience as a student where you say, well, wait a minute, couldn't we do it this other way? And the teacher just goes and says, oh no, we have to do it this way, this way, this way, this way. I don't think that's ideal, and that's what I tried to do with ChatGPT about something pretty advanced. Don't worry about the details, but if you'll notice there's a fraction in there, 1 over something. My question was, why do we really need this? To its credit, ChatGPT went through the standard argument, which I'm sure it's read in a bunch of books and like online posts and Wikipedia, and it, defined this thing, and it went and proved that there are like 4 properties that it has. But I want to point out here, it bold-faced the word projection, but it did not boldface the word onto. And actually the word onto is the important word here. And also the word idempotent isn't relevant either. But yes, these are parts of a standard proof, and this is probably actually a better proof than the most bare bones one that you need. But my question is, why do we need that? It wasn't like, why do we need the standard proof? It was, do we actually need that in the argument? Could we modify it? And again, to its credit, it said, well, let's try it. Let's not divide and see what happens. It notes at the top there that it's still G equivariant, whatever that means. This is correct. It goes on to check whether or not something's idempotent. So far, so good. But then down here, it makes a very fatal flaw. It says the image of Q may not be contained in W. That's just completely false. And for some pretty basic reasons, like that's not the advanced math, like this is a big red flag. And it keeps coming onto this idea of not being a projection. So it doesn't satisfy this property here. And it talks about like, well, what if it doubles everything? That would be a problem. But like if you're talking about a subspace, like one of the first things you learn in a linear algebra class, which is much more basic than the content of this question, you learn that like actually doubling everything like wouldn't matter in a subspace because you could just scale by 1/2. Now for the experts watching the video, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, the whole point is that doubling everything, multiplying by 2 in some weird abstract math things, that can be the same as like multiplying by 0, and we can't divide by 0, and that's kind of the issue. And yeah, ChatGPT knows this as well. But it knows it in a separate part of its brain. Like this is some caveat at the end that I'm sure it read 40 times when it read this proof in 40 different textbooks. But it's not able to kind of like put it together here and say, actually, what can happen is that when you restrict to the subspace W, you're basically getting multiplication by that. And that could be 0. Okay, so at the end, ChatGPT did really get to understand it, but I had to prompt it 4 or 5 times really to get to that point. This is not terrible by any means, but like I knew the answer and I knew exactly how to prompt it to get it because I'm a professor. This is what I do with students to help them understand things. Imagine if I had no clue what was going on, would I have known exactly the 4 prompts to tell it that it was wrong? And again, to be clear, it did a lot of things. I just had really, really high standards for it and it does not yet meet those.